Thanks to the wonders of helium, we float high off the southern tip of New York's Lake Seneca, looking down at Watkins Glen International. The weapon of choice today is the Williams, the suggested local snack food cuisine, a spinach and feta stuffed pretzel washed down with a shot of Rattlesnake Rosie's forbidden apple pie whiskey. So put the lazy boy to good use, because it's time for the Batteries Not Included debut season's penultimate round. And all the racing action from Green Flag to Victory Donuts can be seen live as it happens right here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Streaming cyberspace into your place from the Empire State, hello and welcome to another GSRC broadcast. Yours truly, Bill Soupzon, joined by Nick Schmig, to bring you our Word's Eye view. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, armed with cameras locked and loaded by Dougie Beard. Las Vegas, Detroit, Dallas, Phoenix, U.S. cities all have hosted Formula One. The current venue is Austin, but heck, this commentator was born and raised in Long Beach, but even I, when being analyzed via word association on the couch of my psychiatrist's office, when she hits me with U.S. Grand Prix, the first thing that comes to mind is Watkins Glen. Nick, tell us a little bit about today's venue and the configuration.
All right, well, Soup, my older family members and grandparents have told me the stories of how they'd go up to Watkins Glen every year to see the race cars roar through the quiet village and hit whopping speeds of 70 miles an hour. We're here today in Watkins Glen, New York, where the track moved from the streets to this fast 11-turn, 5.5-kilometer course you see on screen today. Formula One raced here from 1961 to 1980, and today you'll get a glimpse back in time as the drivers today look to recapture some of that magic. This track is big, fast, and intimidating. We're not using the bus stop today. People are going to be flying into the carousel. And while it may look relatively simple, getting around this place is no easy task. Let's send you down to the pits to hop on in that car for your GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Clayton McLeod and the GSRC Williams, so let's do a lap around Watkins Glen. Down into the 90, you've got a great place to pass, but you also want to watch out since the downhill entry makes it easy to outbrake yourself. From there, it's a flat-out climb all the way up through the S's. But as you approach the backstretch, you're already gaining some astonishing speed. That'll mean a big hole in the air is going to be punched by the car ahead, and you can expect drafting to play a part in how battles unfold today. Because this is a modern F1 car, the downforce is so powerful you won't be braking on your way into the carousel. That'll make it important to get passes done before you turn in. Thankfully, there's some banking here to help you run side by side, but the track narrows on exit. Down towards the chute, it'll take some real confidence to brake as late as you need to chuck it into this diving left-hander. If it goes wrong through there'll be little chance to recover. Then you've got the toe of the boot. It might be tempting to make a pass on your way into this corner, but it's the exit that requires the most attention. It's a steep uphill climb and decently long straight afterwards, meaning if you're slow off the corner, you'll be vulnerable up to the heel. This is probably the last decent place to overtake. Every corner after has major downsides. For example, 9 is off-camber with almost no runoff, so it'll be single file and require finesse with a throttle. Incredibly, the penultimate turn doesn't even need a lift. Keep it planted and smooth on your way through. Then, the final corner has very little braking of its own, so it's unlikely you'll be able to send one up the inside very easily. But hopefully, you've now finished a lap around Watkins Glen.
Joe Peak doing what you do better, and that is talking and taking us around a lap of the racetrack. Today it's Watkins Glen, and if you're a fan of the Hollies, you'll be disappointed because there is no bus stop on this configuration. All right, let's go ahead and take a lap around the point standings. And it all starts up there with Joseph Fabian. Now, there are 4 drop races in this series. Those are indicated by those 4 highlighted droplets above that 599 score that Fabian has, with only 2 rounds left. And you see that he has 96 points in his pocket. That's his biggest drop race. Unless the wheels come off the car, Joseph Fabian is well on the way to winning the debut crown here in the Batteries Not Included Championship. But don't give up hope yet. There is still a chance for the Canadian Clayton McLeod sitting there in second position. Floris Bashar has been impressive. He's only 15 back of third position. Only 6 off of the podium is the Spanish driver there, and that is Antonio Ortiz Poveda. We have seen him being very impressive in some of the races that he's been in. And new to the overlay just the last couple rounds has been Thomas Ziegler, hailing from Germany. So those are the big names to keep an eye on, but we have a really large field today. The series' health continues to grow, and we will look forward to announcing some news about next season, but we'll save that till next round. Right now, let's go to some more traditional news, and that's have Nick go ahead and talk about the race details.
Yeah, Soup, like you said, great to see all these drivers in here today for the penultimate round here at Watkins Glen, round 11 of 12. And as you see there, we do have the 4 drop weeks that Soup just talked about. We have 37-lap race today, which is going to require 1 pit stop when you factor in that the open setups these guys are allowed to have. You have a max fuel of 67%. No incident cap. All drivers love to hear that. And official iRacing points is how they score the point standings for this series.
Not sure how they do that, but somehow they manage to figure out the math, and the higher the quality of race driver, the more points that are available to be won. And that's a good thing for those drivers that are trying to catch Fabian, because they'd like to make these races worth as much as they possibly could here in the closing part of the season. Qualifying's underway. Let's go ahead, Nick, and take a look at what the weather looks like here up east.
I wish the weather looked like this in real life right now outside here in Watkins Glen, but no, it's a great day here in the virtual world. 78 degrees and just very, very slight wind, 55% humidity, track temperatures at 86 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a beautiful, partly cloudy day here in the Glen, and you couldn't ask for better weather for this event.
Great television show. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's always sunny at Watkins Glen. That's what we like to think about. All right, with that said, the qualifying numbers are starting to come in. Hey, from down under, we have a few guys hailing from Australia today. One of them, Scott Newton's right now tentatively at the top of the poll, but it's not going to be long because there are some big names coming in. There's Scott. Scott does very well in this car. We know him as he races over in the AOR, Apex Online Racing. We cover that. He races in the Formula Renault over there. Another driver we know from the Formula Renault is Floris Bashar. He's currently at the top of the charts. He races in the Absolute Beginner League. A lot of drivers doing crossover work, and as I say that, Scott Newton must be listening to the broadcast, as Scott's jumped back on top again.
You've got to expect Scott Newton to be fast today. He won last week in this series at Road America, which is another track notorious for its high-speed turns and high-speed straightaways. So 2 similar tracks back-to-back. Scott Newton won last week. I would expect him to be very strong this week as well.
Right on board now with Bashar, hailing out of the Netherlands. Another big name to keep an eye on. I love this onboard cameras that go over the rise there. Antonio Poveda is here again today. He's in 4th. He was in 3rd, but that's because he got pushed down by Chris Aoun. New pole sitter. We look at, we go to, whoop. That one's not going to count. And there's Aoun sitting up there, putting in a 1:17.9. About 4/10 faster than Scott Newton. We'll see if Newton can get back up to the pole position. Right now, he's sitting on the outside of row 1. Other big names that are here today as we ride along with Newton. Thomas Ziegler sits 5th in the points. Clayton McLeod sits 2nd in the points. Right now, they sit 5th and 6th on the grid. There's Ziegler. Ziegler now heading, going to call out this. He goes down into the chute. I like to call it the laces. Then into the toe. Then to the bottom part of the boot that this commentator, and only this commentator, calls the sole. Down into the heel. Then Nick, up to one of the hardest corners for me on iRacing service, corner number 9. Oh, I hate this left-hander.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. You just can't get it to stick right there on the inside, and when you do it, you hit the curb and it launches you outwards. But, no problem for these great drivers here today.
Down through 10 and 11. Let's see what Ziegler can do here. He put in a 1:18.8. Can he better that one? He's currently sits 5th. Nope. His time stands, as does his position. 22 drivers have put in qualifying times. There are 28 names on the entry list. My gosh, that's a sign of a healthy series here in Lapis, round number 11. When you have one of your largest fields of the season showing up. Looking over the right shoulder of Clayton McLeod. Again, Clayton going down into the boot section. Oh, no, I apologize. Up in the carousel right now. There we go. Boy, talk about the carousel. Nick, the dynamics of that corner totally changes when there is no bus stop.
Yeah, you're a lot faster in there. The bus stop normally would slow you down, and then it's who can get on the throttle first. But this, it's who can stay off the throttle the least. It's an interesting turn now when you're just flying in there. You just have to send it into whatever line you may choose. I don't think any line is really preferred at that point. It's just you're fast through there. It's the only thing you're thinking about.
I'll tell you what, for the most part, Chicanes and I do not get along, both when I'm racing and when I'm commentating or just a fan. But honestly, I like the bus stop. I think the bus stop is a darn fun chicane as we're going to look at the McLeod telling us not to get this louder. And my goodness, he gets a good one as he moves up 2 spots from 6th into 4th with 1:18.557. Bus stop puts on good racing. They go into it, and sometimes they don't decide who's made the pass until they come out of it. But I guess I'm always a fan of public transportation, so always good to have a bus stop handy. Looking at Michael Overbay. He's very close. He's only 8/100ths of a second behind Marcus Giscal. Try to get up into 8th, and honestly, there's room to pick up all the way maybe up into row 3 if he can hustle.
Almost.
Going down to the right-hander that is the toe. Let's look ahead at Dave Peterson. Dave has yet to put in a time. In fact, he was one of the... he wasn't too bad in qualifying. He sat about at the middle of the pack. I'm sorry, in practice. Five drivers now putting in qualifying times as we look at Robert Grosser. Grosser sitting on the outside of row 4. And that's where he's going to remain. Remember Scott Newton? He was on the pole for a while. He got bumped off. We'll see what he can do. 53 seconds left in qualifying. Just working through corner 11 now. All right, Scott, let's see if you can better your time of 1:17.9. The answer to that is negative. We think Scott's going to have one more shot. 2 drivers yet to put in qualifying time, Dave Peterson and Robert D'Souza. Series organizer Clayton McLeod. Started off the season very hot. Whether it be the quality of competition has picked up or he has slowed down or just bad luck, but he has not had the back half of the season like he had the front half of the season. Going down the back straight now. One more shot for Newton through corner number 9. The left and the right. And then the start-finish line. Newton put in that 1:17.934, hoping to better that one. Sits outside of row 1. When the race starts, Scott Newton will be sitting outside of row 1. No, he will not, as he is on the pole. There it is. 1:17.447. Two drivers putting in their final laps. Dave Peterson, currently in 12th. And that's where, no, he picks up a few spots, moving up into 10th. Last driver out there. Like the unicorn heading for the arc. Through 11, it is Clayton McLeod. Again, he sits in 6th. And he'll be starting from inside of row 2 as he has a good final lap. He moves up into 3rd, and that'll do it. Let's go to our starting grid right now. On the front row, it isn't Scott Newton and Chris O'Hoon. They were both very fast. Row 2 is populated by Clayton McLeod, Antonio Ortiz-Paveda. He knows how to drive a car. Floris Flashar and Thomas Ziegler make up row 3. Michael Overbay and Robert Grosser are in row 4. Spots 9 and 10, Marcus Costalla and Dave Peterson. Nick?
Spot number 11 is going to go to David Wald Jr. in the 139 car. He's going to have Stephen Hinkle to his outside there in the 136. Row number 7 going to be made up of Reed Miller and Chris Moretta behind them. Jay Friels is going to round out the top 15. 16th is going to go to Silvio Hurt. Alan Morgan in the 40 car. He is going to be 17th with Chris Bain to his outside as they will start this race. And then Ken Soska and Jim Ray will round out your top 20.
Hidden Blackjack, it's Christopher Schmidt in the double duck spot. It is Jerry Forkel. In the 23rd position, Manuel Gomez Esteban with Larry Crump behind him in 24th. In the quarter century mark, a fan favorite and a great live pace car driver, Hector Sanchinelli. See him racing with us. The final 2 spots go to Ronald Overbay, who put in the slowest qualifying time of 1:23.4. And a man who did not put in a qualifying time, Robert D'Souza, back there in 27th. Robert is gridding up, so we have a full field of 27. 26 put in qualifying times, but all of our attention now goes to the pole sitter, Scott Newton. You can hear those engines begin to harmonize in the Williams. The penultimate round of the debut season of the batteries not included. Gather up the chickens, take cover behind the cows, because the horses are out of the barn, and one horse that was sleeping is Scott Newton as he gets man-run by the entire field of drivers. Up in front, down to the south. In the second is Floris Bashar. Newton has to settle for 3rd under attack from Paveda and McLeod.
Absolute chaos there to start as they still can't quite get single file. They're going to stretch all the way out to 3 wide as they head down into the carousel here.
The dark car in the middle was Paveda. He decided to not be the toothpaste squirting out of the tube as he backs out, but Newton does get around Bashar back up in the second, trying to make up for that horrible start. Let's talk about the back half of your top 10. It's Costall, Ziegler, Wall Jr., Grosser, and Overbay. Yeah, so far, so good. It looks like everyone's pretty darn clean.
Yeah, with the exception of the very far back of the field at the start, which is always expected with such big packs. Even a bad start from Scott Newton, he got himself sorted out very quickly and right back to second. He was very eager and very determined to get back to that top 2 spot. And now it looks like he's chasing down Chris Aoun with a full head of steam.
Alon Morgan has had some issues as he's starting at the very back there. He's had some problems. He's well off the pace, but as we get through lap number 1, credit Chris O'Oon as your leader as he starts to try to open up a little of the gap on Scott Newton. Up the hill they go, down the back straight, heading towards the carousel.
Clayton McLeod getting real aggressive there. He almost got into Marcus Jesdal. I think he actually did slightly get into him as they were going up through the S's there, but no harm, no foul there for him as he's going to take it 2 wide on the outside of Jesdal now. as they head into the boot.
Stahl now up to 5th. He leaves room on the inside for McLeod. Joining the party, David Wall Jr. Down into the toe. A great battle going on for 4th position. Oh no! Wall gets together, and riding the wall is Clayton McLeod. Wall tried to peek on the outside, and I don't know if Clayton knew he was there. You look at McLeod on the Armco there, and watch it again. The two get together. Wall, the trailing car, looking to the outside. McLeod eased over, ended up on 2 wheels, and 2 wheels on the Armco. Their days are done. This is Big Boy Racing, no fast repairs, and the battery's not included, Lee.
That was a heavy, heavy hit there for those 2 drivers.
Wall and McLeod talking over the microphone right now, calmly reviewing the replay, saying, what happened? Wall says, you left me the room, I went for it, and then you took it away. Go through looking at Bain. Bain has had some issues as he's riding a little farther back. Another driver that had some problems, no need to go there. Manuel Gomez Esteban had a spin. Check back in on the best battle on the track, at least up front right now. This is Marcus Gastal. Nevada chasing him, and Ziegler. This was a 5-car battle, but we lost Wall and McLeod. Great racing as they come at you. Remember, there will be a pit stop today. Gastal getting away from those 2 guys now. Nice little look at P12. Nick, this is Jim Ray. He's being hounded by Christian Schmidt.
Yeah, Jim Ray is taking a lot of defensive as he's going to let him through on the inside there, Christian Schmidt. And it looks like, I think he's going to have the preferred line going into the carousel here. He's going to clear him there before he gets there. That's the best scenario for him. I think Jim Ray may have let himself get off the gas there to keep it clean through there. Still early in this race, only lap 4. You don't want to take too many risks, especially after we saw a lot of just the nature of the boot section of this track. A lot of blind turns, and Clayton McLeod and David Wall. You saw that they just didn't know if they had the room with each other, and they did not.
Schmidt racing now in 12th position, started in 21st. You can do the math at home, but for me, that's 9 positions up. Alon Morgan has called it a day. Other drivers that might be out, Reed Miller, Clayton McLeod, of course, we know about with David Wall. Larry Crump is also in the pits. I think he is done. Field spreading out a little bit. Let's check in on 8th position. We haven't talked about these guys much. This is Michael Overbay. He's got about just a touch under a second gap on Dave Peterson. Just ahead of him, Robert Grossman. So a nice little battle for 7th, all within shouting distance. All right, now you remember the great start that Chris Aoun had? Well, it's not so big anymore. Because now Scott Newton, after that horrible start from the Australian, he's ran down Aoun, and it's just a couple car lengths back, right off the tail of the leader.
Yeah, I've been watching this battle for a couple of, lap or so now, and Scott Newton, he is there, and right when his best spot right now on the track seems to be when he's getting out of the S's and headed towards the carousel on the back straightaway. I'd look for him to make that move again, maybe get that draft in the slipstream and get around Chris Aoun. He was very close to doing it last time. Aoun threw the block, and Newton couldn't quite get around him, so I'm looking here if he can get a run on him.
Here at GSRC, we pride ourselves being able to show you all the racing throughout the field, but right now, when the best battle is up front, that's where we're going to focus on it. Look at the run now, and boy, without even an argument, new leader, Scott Newton. Now the question becomes, can Newton run away from him?
Yeah, Newton set that up perfectly. He backed off just a little bit through the S's to get that big run on Chris Aoun there, and set it up perfectly and timed it perfectly as he was going into the carousel.
So as that one cools off a little bit, let's go back to the one we were looking at earlier. Schmidt and Ray. Schmidt is up in front. He's in 12th. Now he's running away from Ray, but Ray's got trouble as Silvio Hurt behind him is coming. Hurt up a couple spots so far. Honestly,
yeah,
both of those probably from attrition. Go ahead.
Silvio closed that gap quickly. You know, just the nature of how these cars run side by side is a lot of times they just lose time. Even if the guy behind you is slower, he will close in on you, and that's a great example there. Silvio Hurt was quite a while back. Let's go to P8 for some action there.
Overbay being hounded by Dave Peterson. We can keep an eye on this one as well. They go up the S's now, heading towards the carousel. I think Peterson's too far back to get a tow here. Nick, the draft a factor in these Williams?
Oh, I think absolutely. I think to an extent, I mean, that's how Newton got around Aoun as he laid back coming off the S's and got around him there on the backstretch. But, you know, there are a lot of drivers who can weave their way out of the draft, and a lot of guys are good at that. And it kind of cancels out the deal. And we've seen a lot of that here. Michael Overbay trying to hold off Peterson. Peterson's going to be closing in here on the straightaways like right now. But then Overbay is going to get on the brakes closer. And draft definitely a factor in these cars, but you have to know how to work it.
As we look at this battle, you can track what's going on up front on that very top line of your screen there. As you see, the Newton has opened it up almost to a second and a half now, Aoun. So we don't actually have to go there for you to know what's going on the track. I'll tell you where I would like to go, though, and that is 4th position. This is Marcus Gastal. Little by little, Thomas Ziegler is running him down. That gap now under a second. Gastal qualified in 4th, racing in 4th. Ziegler up a spot from 6th position. They work around the lap car of Alan Morgan. Now, Morgan had trouble early. Does a good job of getting out of the way.
Yeah, I think that still hurt Thomas Ziegler to not get around him super cleanly. He wasn't able to take the preferred line to get around Morgan there, and I think that hurt Ziegler quite a bit. He was right on the tail of Jesdal, and now there's a bigger gap there.
Ziegler can see his prey in front of him. Nothing makes me race slower than when I can see the guy I'm trying to chase. I end up, just because I am talent challenged, driving it too deep into the corner, I end up going slower right now. Ziegler just trying to hit his marks, racing smooth as dolphin skin, trying to run down the stall that's in front of him. Oh! Scott Newton, let's go there now!
Oh, no.
What corner is this?
That's turn 1, it looks like. Let's get back on the track.
With the runoff area, he was off in the sand, off in the runoff area. There's no sand there, and then the car just went on him.
Oh, and you know what? That actually collected Chris Aoun, too, quite heavily. He caught a clip of him, and that took Aoun out just as well. He wrecked going up through the S's there.
It sure did. Aoun was chasing.
Wow.
You know what? I think Aoun missed him. It was just the evasive action that put him on the
wall
inside.
there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris Aoun got around one obstacle there and couldn't quite avoid the other one. It just clips him, and I think the shot up into the air, that the curb or the grass or whatever there clipped him upwards. I think that's when he lost control and had no option but to send it into the wall, that's a tough one for him for sure.
Well, it's the holiday season, and in Norway they celebrate it different. Their Santa's a little bit, in the Netherlands it's a little bit different. They celebrate, their Santa comes with a stick and they hit the kid on top of the head and kidnap him, put him in a bag and kidnap him. Not quite sure what Santa's up to in the Netherlands, but right now Christmas has come early to Floris Bashar as the Dutchman is out in front.
Yeah, I'm sure that's one he was not expecting to go through turn 1 and see the fact that he had the lead.
Let's look at second real quick. We're going to go to Gastal. He is really under attack from Ziegler. Yeah, you're right, Nick. All of a sudden, he's racing back there in third. And boom, boom. He's now the leader. The great battle for second. Also in the mix is Poveda.
Yeah, this battle for the top 5, it's now become a battle for the podium for these guys, especially Poveda there trying to close in on him.
I've done a few of these broadcasts. I've had the fortune to come in and do a few and watch Poveda. He's sneaky when it comes to strategy. I would not be surprised if Poveda right now might think he's the fastest of these 3. Would not be surprised to see him peel in early as soon as the pit window opens up. Stahl in second, Ziegler in third, Poveda in fourth. Who's made it up to the top end of your 5th position now? That's Robert Grosser, racing all by himself.
Poveda, like you said, he is fast. He is one of our 6 winners that we've had this year. He won the race at Circuit of the Americas earlier this year. So he definitely knows how to get it done. He's just got to get around these 2 first.
Look at this battle. Oh my goodness. Look, that's really, we're staying right there. Look at that. He's working them. There's another battle back in 8th position. We'll keep an eye on that one as well. But right now, the action is right here. Marcus in second. Thomas in third. Nowhere to go. They have to wait till the pit window opens. All right, let's go to 8th position. This is fun. Chris Moretta. He's got about a half-second lead over Stefan Henkel. Moretta has already got around Henkel. Moretta started in 14th, is up to 8th. Henkel was in 12th, only up 3 spots. And again, attrition accounting for most of those. We are working lap number 10. 26 to go. Here's a fun one back in 11th position. Silvio Hurt, we've watched him. He is being hounded by Christian Schmidt. Looking on from the popcorn position, Jerry Forkel. Now, talk about a hard charge. He's back in 22nd. Oh, let me correct myself. Forkel's a lap down. Watch on. Here's the pass being made, though, up in front. And Schmidt gets it done.
We've seen a lot of passes right there headed into the carousel. I'm honestly surprised. I didn't expect to see passes there today be so prevalent as they are. That's probably the best passing spot we've had on the track today. I didn't expect these cars to take the absence of the bus stop so well.
All right, looking at this battle for third as it continues. Now, Gestal driving away in second.
Yeah, Ziegler was right there on the back of Gestal, and now he's trying to fend off Poveda here.
Very, very intelligent driver. He's about 7/10 of a second back. He's going to start to figure out how it's working. All of this going on behind Floris Bashar, who has, get this, a 6-second lead on Gestal in second.
Oh, big wiggle there for Ziegler.
Poveda close enough. If Ziegler makes a mistake, he can capitalize. Oh, look at this stick. This one's really heating up. This is Henkel and Moretta.
Yeah, Henkel is there. He's just trying to find the line to get around him. He is there, though.
Now they're coming up on the lap car of Alon Morgan. We've seen Alon get out of the way easily here earlier. I think he'll probably do it again. Let's go ahead and stay on this battle for a little bit so we don't just around so much. It's fun to watch a battle maybe for an entire lap. Morgan, boy, Beretta has lost some ground. Henkel about 8 car lengths back. Closing in. Jim Ray back in 10th, watching on too far back to be a serious contender for either of these spots. Now they get up on the back of Morgan. Here we go.
Yeah, Henkel's just not quite fast enough to get that big run out of the S's like we've seen so many guys do today. And he had to swing it a little wide there to get around Morgan, but not too bad there for Henkel.
Actually, he's got a pretty good run as they head into the chute. Let's get this time. Let's keep this around all the way to 11. We'll see if the pass is made down into 1. Go ahead.
It almost looked like he was taking a different line trying to get around Morgan there. It looked like it might have helped him in turn. I don't think he expected it to, but he hit the apex really late in that carousel, and it's not a line he's been taking the last couple laps, but that really seemed to help Henkel there get a run on him.
I agree too. He had a ton of momentum going on that late apex, had a ton of run up the S's. Okay, this is where I think the pass is going to be made here as Gastal's come in. Let's stay on this battle. He gets a pretty good run out of 11. Is he going to force it into 1? Nope, he'll have to wait. And because he takes that late dive, Stefan. So our first big name has come in. Marcus Gastal. Cycles out in 12th position. He's got Jerry Fogle to get around, who's a lap down. But other than that, he's got pretty good track in front of him here. Jerry shouldn't put up much of a fight. Now they're starting to come in. Chris Bain, qualified 18th, was up in 16th. He's pitting.
Interested to see if either Ziegler or Poveda decide to come in here. I'm not quite sure if they're going to try to play a little bit of strategy there. Ziegler staying out, and looks like they'll both stay out here.
There we have it. Back into the P8. Morietta. Now look who's joined. Remember though, Nick, it wasn't long ago we said Jim Ray was really too far back to be a factor. Look at this. Here he comes. He's on the back of Henkel now. And coming.
That battling in front of him. The battling in front of him allowed him to catch up here, and he's making moves. He's not just there. He is going side by side right now with Henkel.
Get this sorted out. In the carousel, and the pass is made by Jim Ray.
And that was on the outside as well. I haven't seen so many guys do that.
Indeed. Don't worry, fans. The first string commentators will be back next week. They will not be doing any calliope sounds as we ride on board the right suspension of Jim Ray. Qualified in 14th, he's cut that in half.
You know who else is cutting things in
20th tonight. Go ahead, Nick.
You know who else is cutting things in half is Thomas Ziegler. I think Jez Dahl might have been holding him up because he went from an 8-second deficit from Bichard, the leader, to a 6.5 second. He is close. That was just in 2 laps. He gained a second and a half on Bichard's lead there. So I would assume Jez Dahl was really holding him up. Ziegler is fast, though. He is closing in.
Bashar out in front. We're talking about 6.4 seconds. In Switzerland, it's against the law to own only one guinea pig because they're prone to loneliness. Hopefully, Bashar doesn't have any guinea pig blood in him because he's all by himself right now. Swiss officials don't have to worry because Ziegler is coming. There is Bashar.
I'm wondering if this is going to affect... it's got to affect Bichar's pit strategy here. He might want to come in a little earlier than he had previously anticipated to try to keep this lead.
He's got clear track ahead of him. After the tangle between Aoun and Scott Newton, things have quieted down. We've been blessed with some real clean racing. Knock on the Formica here. All right, we'll go back to 8th position. Ray has left these guys behind. Moretta and Henkel still going at it.
Henkel tried to get underneath him there in turn 1, and he almost got his nose chopped off. He had to be very careful and get on the brakes there a lot sooner than he had anticipated, because that was very close. As he's got a big run now, might want to make the outside work like Jim Ray did just a couple laps ago on him.
Look at that! Henkel into 8th, Moretta in 9th. Now I'm looking at
go ahead.
I'm looking at my clipboard, right? Ray was behind both of these guys, right? When we started watching these guys, so he got them both.
Yeah, Ray passed them both on the outside in the carousel, and Henkel took lessons learned from the guy who just passed him, Jim Ray, and got around Chris Moretta on the outside there in the carousel.
Oh, Ray spins it though, right in front of him, and they both get by. Henkel and Moretta. Ray gets it going. He's going to lose another spot as Schmidt gets by him. Ray, all that hard work, he goes back to 10th. We're looking at it right there. Look at that. Luckily, the car rolls out of the way of the guys coming.
Yeah, Soup, you and I were talking about that turn, and specifically in qualifying, just how difficult it was to stick through there. And Jim Ray right there just couldn't hang on to it.
All right, all those guys have decided to come in. Henkel, Moretta, and Ray all took their pit stop. Gestal still the leader of all the cars who have pitted. He's been racing out there now for 4 laps. He is in 9th position. My dad used to say the early peel, late reveal. They peel into pit lane early. You forget about them. What's revealed late is, hey, where'd that guy come from? Well, it's all in 9.
That was a good time for Henkel, Moretta, and Ray to pit, especially Ray. They were already slow through turns 10 and 11 there, so you might as well come in pit so you don't lose time on another lap trying to slow down for your pit entrance. So probably a good choice there for Henkel, Moretta, and Ray to come in there and save some time. A couple seconds in the long run will help you.
And what that did, if we go to 11th position, as we look at Dave Peterson is in the pits as well. Maybe see how here, if Peterson comes out in relationship to Gestal. Gestal is out of the final corner now. I think Peterson's going to get out. Peterson just getting in his box. No. Gestal blows by. Will continue to be the leader of all the cars who've pitted. What I'd like to do to go back right now and look in on Henkel, because this battle, he's in 10th right now. This battle we were looking at, well, the pit stops have kind of cooled that down a bit. Henkel now in 8th, and actually he's going to have a little fun from Christian Schmidt, who's just coming out of the pit behind him. Remember Jim Ray? He just nosed it in the wall as we speak. That's his second mistake. find Ray. We're looking for the replay. This is coming out of 1. He was having such a good run. Things really went south for him.
Very similar to Scott Newton's accident there we saw earlier, where he just lost it coming back over the curbing. The runoff area in turn 1, you can run off as far as you want to, but you got to be careful coming back over the curbing. And unlike Scott Newton, he's lucky he didn't have anyone behind him to collect as well, because that way he was sitting sideways right on the track.
Boy, he had worked his way up into 7th. He had earned it.
Yeah.
Made a spin. Took his pit stop after the spin. Flipped into the wall. His day's done. Marcus Gestal continues to be the leader of all the cars who have pitted. He's ahead of Grosser now. So Gestal in 6th, Grosser in 7th. I'd like to go back to, I want to go to 8th real quick if we can. Remember, this is what I was trying to talk about as Ziegler comes in. This is Henkel and Schmidt in a battle. Let's look at it right now as Schmidt is going to make this pass on the inside. Schmidt came out behind him in pit lane. He gets the pass done. I think Henkel is not going to argue it. Move Schmidt up into 8th position. And now Ziegler is in the pit stop as is Overbay. Gestal just working his way through 9 right now up into 10. Ziegler is rolling out of pit lane. He should get out well ahead of Gestal.
Ziegler had closed that gap from the lead down to 5.4 seconds last time I looked, and that was about a lap before he pitted. So he did close it down, and then when the tires kind of started equaling out, I think that's when he decided to come in. But Bichar's got to be careful because Ziegler's definitely going to close the gap once Bichar cycles through his pit stop as well. I'm just curious as to how many seconds that's going to make up, if any.
You look at Ziegler's time in the box, 8.2 seconds, 10.2 for Gestal. So, the 2 drivers out in front, Flores Bichar, and then the man I talked about, Antonio Ortiz Poveda. We call him AOP. He always uses an alternative strategy. He's coming in for a stop. Going to look for Ziegler. He is the leader of all the cars who pitted. He's in 3rd right now, just going through 9 into 10. Ziegler able to jump Gestal in the pit box now through 11. Poveda is in one of the far pit stalls, but Ziegler's coming. Ziegler goes by. Poveda is rolling. I think he's going to be able to get out ahead of Gestal, right behind Ziegler, within shouting distance.
Yeah, Gestal just coming through turn 1 now. So there's quite a gap there between those guys.
So like an Agatha Christie novel, and then there was one, Flores Bichar. Final little Indian to make a pit stop. I'm up through 11 right now. There's pit entrance.
Yep, and there he goes.
In he comes. He had a healthy lead, but it was getting smaller.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to pit. I think he wanted to stay out in that lead as long as possible. He got that Christmas gift, and he wanted to keep it. Now let's see if he can just kind of keep that lead when he comes out.
The guys he's racing through the heel, through 9, now they're heading to 10. That is Ziegler and Gestal. They are close together, by the way.
That was a good stop by Bichar. Didn't slide through or anything. And he's coming out of the pits now.
Sar. Poveda in 2nd. No, let me correct myself. Yeah, it is Poveda in 2nd. No. It's Ziegler. Ziegler in 2nd, Poveda in 3rd. Those 2 guys relatively close. That's how they came out of pit lane. So the interval, Nick, we were looking at it. It was like about 6.5. Now it's 7.5.
Yeah, Bichar, and he's going to have fresher tires too. So he should be in good shape here to the finish if he can just keep it clean.
Well, he knocked off about a second on that time. That's because he was a second faster in the box, 7.2. And I'll tell you, when I look at the times in the boxes from all the drivers, Christian Schmidt put in a 7 flat. The next fastest driver in his box, Floris Bouchard. All right, let's look at 8th position. This is Christian Schmidt, Morietta. And we've been watching Henkel as well. Morietta and Henkel have been kind of linked together this whole race. I think Schmidt is probably the fastest of these three. I'm not so sure if this is going to heat up, if it's more or less might stretch out. Although Henkel, not listening to the commentator right now, as he gets closing in on the back of Morietta.
How about Christian Schmidt starting 21st, and he's up here in 8th right now?
That's right. 11 cars on the lead lap. Schmidt, Morietta, and Henkel. Only one car behind them. That's Silvio Hurt. Put the camera on Hurt. There's one car between Hurt and being lapped. That's Milan Morgan, who is 1 lap down. Hurt's got a real good chance of finishing on the lead lap with 13 laps to go. So who's our hard charger? Well, it is indeed Christian Schmidt that we were looking at before. Dick was talking about it. 21st to 8th. Look over the top. Christian's helmet. Racing in that Marlboro machine.
Another honor. Oh, he got really loose there. That was, or I'm sorry, that was another car I was looking at. But another hard charger, at least an honorable mention. It wasn't nearly from 21st to 8th, but oh, and Marcus Jesdal, right as I say that, just spun just this little bit there and got into the wall. Well, I was going to say Jesdal was a nice honorable mention. He went from 9th to 4th, but looks like it might harm him a little there. Let's go to replay for that.
Look at Marcus. A little bit of a slide. He keeps it going. So what does that mean for Jesdal? Well, he is back in 6th position, but only about a second and a half behind Grosser. All right, this is Edgar Sancinelli on the outside. This is Jerry Forkhold on the inside. This is a battle for 13th. Both these cars 1 lap down. Look at the momentum up on top, though. Work for Sancinelli. Down into the toe. Forkhold has been working on him for a while.
Forkhold really trying to take whatever line Sancinelli doesn't take, and he's just about pacing him right now. He can't quite get an advantage, but he's not losing ground either. So if he catches his draft off of the S's, or another place we've seen a lot of guys do it today, I think Forkhold's in good shape to maybe set up a pass around Edgar Sancinelli here.
Stay on this battle. We ride off the gearbox of Sancinelli. I'll just report that Ziegler has knocked the second off of Bouchard's lead. You can see it up there on that top line. Interval now hanging at just over a second. As we can do. I love this camera. Ah, that's so fun.
Right behind those two guys, Morietta and Henkel have really caught Christian Schmidt for P8. They are right behind them, about to lap him, but
yeah,
looks like Moretta's trying to make a pass right now on Schmidt, and he's going to do that as he clears him right there on the backstretch.
These guys have been the star of the show, so Morietta now up into 8th, but Schmidt's not giving up. You're right. You know, Nick, this is going to get real exciting because these guys are faster than that battle for Sancinelli and Forkhold, and they're going to get there soon. Great 3-car battle for 8th position. that's going to mix it up with Sancinelli and Forkolb here in a minute. Here they come.
And these guys aren't going to stop battling so the other two can battle. They're going to battle it out themselves. Oh, Schmidt he got on the curb there. And that is going to allow Henkel almost to get to his inside.
Chris Moretta going to be first to get to those duos and gets around easily enough. Sancinelli has distanced himself. Fortunately for these guys coming, that battle between Forkolb and Sancinelli cooled off a little bit. Schmidt gets around. And now Henkel gets around.
Schmidt almost got into the back of Forkolb there out in turn 2, going up into the S's. He was trying to take advantage of his draft there and waited maybe a little too long to peel out and make the slingshot move.
Sancinelli left the door open for both of those guys to go around. They do easily. Unfortunately, Henkel catches them at a bad time. Now all 3 cars have negotiated, and that puts Sancinelli right back in the clutches of Forkolb. Oh, that's fun battling from guys in different places on the standings. Well, all of you worried about Bouchard losing his lead. It's now up to almost 8 seconds. Thomas Ziegler, try as he might, not able to get any inroads there.
Yeah, Ziegler was a lot faster than him before that pit stop, and now it's just about evened out. Really thought Ziegler had something for him to at least close the gap in half or something. It was about 5.5 seconds at the lowest. Now it's more towards 8 seconds. So Bouchard is in really good shape right now.
Manuel Gomez Esteban doing a good job of getting the car out of the way. He's in 16th position. But right now, somebody needs to check Floris Bouchard's luggage for stolen towels because he has checked out. Oh, that battle we've been watching. This is Sancinelli. He's working on the top side. Trying everything he can to find a way around. Sancinelli continues to fend him off.
Yeah, Forkolb had the inside there, and I really thought it was going to make him stick out of the carousel, and he just couldn't quite do it. That was a great run by Sancinelli to fend him off there, and now just every line that Forkolb takes is the opposite of Sancinelli, trying everything to get around him right now for 13th.
If you're not a member of iRacing, what are you waiting for? Look at the fun you have. You don't need to be one of the fastest drivers to have fun. These guys are a lap down racing for 13th position, having the time of their lives. With that cooling off, let's take this opportunity to talk to some of the... Oh no, it's not cooling off!
Sancinelli.
Oh, Edgar, I tried to get away before the commentator skirts gotcha. Edgar Sancinelli will be joining several of the drivers that have retired early. Yes, you don't have to pay for the equipment, you don't have to pay for the medical bills, but the disappointment is just as real. All right, here is our leader, Bouchard, 7.2 seconds up on his rival. Schmidt and Henkel still in a battle. Schmidt, I think the faster of the two drivers. Working out of that final corner as Schmidt crosses the line. He's working lap 31. That's 7 to go for him. 7 to go for the leader. 11 cars on the lead lap. Schmidt and Henkel. Not the last 2 cars on the lead lap. There is Silvio Hurt behind him, but other than that, that's all there is.
Yeah, this is really the position Henkel's been in for this whole battle. Is he's going to try maybe the outside here. I don't think he has big enough of a run. might be able to cross it over here, but I don't think so. Henkel's been really in this position this whole battle. He qualified better than Moretta and Schmidt, but he's really been in this this seat right behind him, just keeping their draft to stay in it. Hasn't really had the speed to make many aggressive moves to try to get around him.
The good news, or I guess bad news, however you want to look at it for Henkel, is that is about 3 seconds up to Moretta, so I don't know if they have enough time to get to that position, so Henkel can take his time and work on Schmidt, find the way around. Look off the tail of Schmidt as Henkel continues to look for a racing line around. You can see that New York sky pushing down at the racetrack here at Watkins Glen. Coming at you. Going under you. As that cools off, let's get a little screen time to the driver in fourth position. We have not talked about him much. Michael Overbay started in 7th. Picked up a few spots from attrition. Just going to finish just outside the podium unless something unforeseen happens to Bashar, Ziegler, or Preveda. Nevertheless, a good run from Michael. All right, we talked about Silvio Hurt being the last car on the lead lap. I think he just put it in the wall. Yep, not too long ago if we want to look for it. Sorry, Silvio. We're going to capture this one. He was racing in 11th. We had hopes of finishing on the lead lap. All those hopes have been dashed.
Almost got Ziegler in it, too. He was just barely scooted by on the outside there. That would not have been good for Ziegler at all.
That would not indeed. Ziegler has a 4.3 cushion back to AOP. Boveda racing in 3rd.
Yeah, it looks like Ziegler may have lost some time on Bishar there as well. It was like a 7... He lost about a second that lap, it looks like.
All right, 9th position. Schmidt and Henkel. Henkel keeps coming in, keeps nosing in on Schmidt, keeps getting there, keeps getting our attention, and then Schmidt pulls away. Henkel is working.
Henkel's running out of time to think about how he's going to make this pass. He's down to 4 to go. He's really got to... If he wants to make the pass, that's, it's fine. He's just got to put it into action. I think he's in his head right now. He's thought of all the different ways he can possibly do it, but the big problem is that Schmidt's just too fast.
Well, I'll tell you what. Remember, I told you that Moretta up in 8th position really wasn't a factor. That was about 3 seconds. Well, now it's down to under 2, so Schmidt and Henkel are coming. Don't know with four laps to go if there's enough time for them to get up into 8th. These are the last drivers on the lead lap. They race behind Dave Peterson. Poor Dave's all by himself in 7th. Dave's not here, the director says. Yeah, you gotta be old. Gotta be really old to know that one. This has been a good one. A nice, strong field, some excitement up in front.
Oh, Henkel's trying to go make it on the outside here on the backstretch. I think he might get it done in the carousel. Schmidt's charging back. Looks like Henkel's going to be able to... No, he can't quite clear him yet.
Oh, but he's got him now. He's got to run.
Ah, still can't do it, and now Schmidt's going to have the preferred line. Wow.
To do a little up and under from Henkel. Cannot make it work. Yeah, we're going to stay on this one. And all that nonsense is the best news that Chris Moretta could have as he's opened up the gap right now. But look at this. Nick, we said that Henkel has plenty of time, but then you mentioned the time's running out. I think Henkel's looked at his watch. He says it's time to play.
Yeah. 3 to go right now. That was a risk. He's taking risks, too.
Yeah.
Turn 9 there. That's not a good place at all to try to make a pass. Probably the worst place on the whole track to make a pass, and he almost made it work. So he's willing to put his car in places a lot of other people have not this whole race just to keep it clean. Henkel wants that 9th place position.
Remember, these are open setups in this series, so cars might be better at different sections of the track. Look at the run here that Henkel has. Is he going to run out of real estate? Looking to the outside. They work their way around the carousel. Now Henkel tries to dip underneath. Not going to work.
The last lap, he stuck it around the outside the entire lap. That time, he came right down on the outside of Schmidt, not giving him any room at all. Racing hard for every little piece of real estate, and Henkel slides. And that will probably end his hopes of that 9th place position.
Good news is he's not going to lose a spot as he is the last car on the lead lap. Bad news is he's lost touch with Christian Schmidt now. Okay, our contract calls for us to put the camera on the leader every so often. Let's fulfill our obligation. This is Floris Bashar. I personally have watched Floris race a lot of times over in the Absolute Beginner League. He raced in the Skippy, and then when they changed over to the Formula Renault, he's raced in that one as well. But he has really found a home here in the Williams, as he's working the white flag lap. Having to negotiate corner number 1 for the final time. Corner number 1 has been the Achilles heel of so many drivers today.
Bashar got his first win just 2 weeks ago at Sebring. He's looking to bring home number 2 on the year right here at the Glen.
Scott Newton qualified on the pole. He's going to finish in 21st. Outside of him, Chris Aoun qualified in 2nd. He's going to finish in 22nd. The driver who qualified 3rd, Clayton McLeod. Well, how about 24th for him? So when opportunity knocks, you got to take advantage of it. And right now, the man who qualified 5th, Floris Bashar, looking to pick up a win. Through the heel, up to dreaded corner number 9. Down into 10. This is the debut season for the Batteries Not Included series. It has been a good one. Working corner number 11, the penultimate race. It's going to go to the man from the Netherlands, Floris Bashar, Thomas Ziegler. Working his way around Jerry Forkolm. That's a lap car. Ziegler gets 2nd. AOP, Antonio Ortiz Baveda, gets that final podium spot. A very quiet run for Michael Overbay. Out there racing in that beautiful blue and red machine for Apex button boxes. He's going to get 4th. Robert Brosser coming out of 11. Up 3 spots from where he gridded. One of the drivers we watched a lot today, Marcus Stahl, going to get 6th. Some camera time is deserved of Dave Peterson. Another one of those quiet runs. 3 spots up from where he started, gets 7th. Morietta, Schmidt, Henkel, they come across. That's your top 10. That's all the cars on the lead lap. And that's the end of the racing. But our broadcast is far from done. Don't go far. We'll take a short break, but then we'll come back to run down the entire finishing order. Talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate here at Watkins Glen. Stay close. watching the Global SimRacing Channel's coverage of the Batteries Not Included Season 1 Championship, and it's round number 11 from Watkins Glen, and the racing is over. Let's give you the finishing order. Now, with the points leader not here today, this has made things very interesting for the championship. Floris Bashar keeps his crown hopes alive with the win. Thomas Ziegler has his best finishes ever as he gets second position. Antonio Ortiz Poveda, well, he's no longer in the championship hunt. Michael Overbay is going to be in fourth. Top 5 finish for Robert Grosser. Marcus Gastal gets sixth. Dave Peterson had that quiet 7th place finish. Chris Morietta comes home in 8th. Now, this is interesting. In 9th spot, I had marked it in on my clipboard. I gave it to Christian Schmidt. Unfortunately, Schmidt had a spin on the last lap in the toe, so he sacrifices that position. It goes to Stefan Henkel. Christian Schmidt will have to settle for the first car, 1 lap down in 10th. Nick?
Yeah, the rest of this field, 11 through 20th or so, or 11 through 15th, I should really say, is a lot of these guys that had quiet races, but the law of attrition in front of them, it put them up into these better spots. Ken Soska and Jerry Forkolb, they are going to be finishing 11th and 12th. Forkolb, the first car, 2 laps down. Behind him, Silvio Hurt in 13th. Chris Bain in 14th. We saw him with a few problems in this race as well. Manuel Gomez Esteban is going to round out the top 15, and behind him, Edgar Sanchinelli, who had such a great run. He was in multiple battles that were very great to watch. He's going to wind up 16th, 9 laps down, alongside Alan Morgan in 17th. It's going to go to Jim Ray in 18th, Ronald Overbay 19th, Scott Newton and Chris Aoun going to round out your top 21. Soup, take it away for the rest of these.
Absolutely. You know what? If you're Joseph Fabian and you're going to decide to miss a race, this might have been the one to miss, because Watkins Glen was not kind to the guys up front. You heard Nick talk about Newton and Aoun in first and second, finishing 20th and 21st. Another top qualifier, Clayton McLeod, has to settle for 24th. Down there also is Jay Friels. Good to see Jay. I know him from Racing Down Under. We've covered series in him. He gets 22nd position, 23rd position to David Walls. And the other drivers we didn't talk much about, Larry Crump, Reed Miller, and Robert D'Souza round out the field. Okay, it is now a 2-car battle for the championship, and that's going to be between Joseph Fabian and Floris Bashar, our race winner today. And luckily for me, I get to talk to Floris. Hey, congratulations, Floris. Christmas comes early to the Netherlands.
Yeah, so it does. I was not expecting that, to be honest. I saw Scott and Chris running away from me, and all of a sudden I saw them flying all over the place. So, towards the end, Thomas was catching me as well. So I was like, this is going to be close. And then he wasn't catching me anymore. But yeah, that was awesome. Okay. I am thoroughly exhausted.
I may have asked you this before, but for new viewers, let me ask it again. I've watched you race in the Skippy, and you do okay. I've watched you race in the Formula Renault, but honestly, what's the deal with the Williams? Is it just a good fit for you? Do you spend more time in it? You really are comfortable in this car.
Yeah, it's my go-to car to have some fun in. All the time I was running ABL in the Skippy and the Formula Renault, I was just hopping into this car, doing laps around the Nürburgring, and by which I mean the Nordschleife.
Right.
And that's just good practice and kept my skills sharp, I guess. Plus, I have these amazing stars compared to some others, and I have pace in this car. I was not expecting me to have that much pace still, but yeah, this is where my heart lies.
I start tinkering with setups, and I have yet to make a car go faster when I start to play around with it. Are you a setup guy? Can you play around with the switches and the knobs to make them do stuff?
I can make them do stuff. Usually crashes, but but yeah, no. I am thoroughly lazy this time around when it comes to Formula One. I just take Clayton setups.
Got it.
Readjust the right height, or put some extra fuel in the race set, and then readjust the right height so they match what they were before, and then I just do lap after lap after lap after lap.
Well, it worked today for you. Congratulations, and I'm getting the news that you are still mathematically in the hunt for the championship. So who knows what could happen in the finale? So good luck there.
Oh, thanks. That's gonna be fun.
All right, Floris Bashar. He right now, but coming into this, he sit third in the points, but with the bad luck that McLeod had, he's going to go into that final race in second with a shot at the crown. All right, Nick, who you got?
I have caught up with Antonio Perez here, or Ortiz. Sorry about that. And Antonio, not your first podium. If I'm counting right here, this is your fifth podium of the year. You've run very strong. You had a win at Coda. You stayed out of trouble today, and that was like a thing that a lot of guys had troubles with today. And talk me through how you stayed out of so much trouble today.
Well, hi everyone. Yeah, it's a positive result in terms of the fifth consecutive podium, but not very good. And I'm a bit disappointed in terms of the championship because my fight is right now with Floris and Clayton, and Floris won. To stay out of trouble on the first laps, I was like really. We were in a 3 wide, the three of us, and I just wanted to lift up and not crash. Yeah, but suddenly Marcus came out from nowhere. He dive bombed me and stayed in front and just kept slowing Thomas and I knew that the was the same one as Floris. I guess they were teammates, so he was doing the job for the team. And yeah, we were running really slow back there, and that was it. We couldn't catch Floris, and when I went out of the pit, I was 12 seconds behind Floris, and I said, okay, that's it. Let's just bring the car to the end of the race. And that's it. Congratulations and whatever. Yeah, but the taste isn't very good.
Yeah, you're talking about the pit stops there. We thought we would see a lot more guys be able to utilize the short pitting and just do better when it comes to coming out with a closer gap than before. No one really was able to do that. Pit stops were tough today, weren't they?
Yeah. In fact, I was really close to overcutting Thomas. But I was missing like 0.2 kilograms, and I didn't want to risk getting out of fuel for an extra lap. I was trying to save fuel when I was in the last laps before the pit stop to maybe gain one extra lap. I should have realized even before and started saving fuel before. That's it. It's a real shame. I thought that Thomas was going to pit one lap earlier. He didn't, and he did that later. He had a really good pace. So, yep, that's it.
Well, you had a great run today. Nonetheless, a third place, a top three, a podium is great in any series. Not in the championship fight, but next week at Monza should be a good one.
Yes, indeed. I love Monza. It's one of my favorite tracks, and there's a huge battle for the second place between Clayton, Floris, and I. And after this race, Floris and I are going to be really close to each other. Yeah, I think he's like 10 points in front of me, 10 or 20 points in front of me in the championship, which is nothing with a 100 points race. That's for the win. So yeah, I'll train a lot. I'll push as hard as I can to get that second place in the championship.
All right, we're looking forward to seeing that race. If Watkins Glen was this good, we know Monza is going to be good as well. Antonio, thank you for your time. We will possibly talk to you next week if you are truly that fast at Monza. But Soup, I believe you are just now catching up with another driver.
I do. Sixth place finisher Marcus Gestal. Marcus, congratulations. Early pit stop. I was watching you the whole race. I thought maybe you might be able to sneak yourself up into the podium. Couldn't get there, but sixth place, not a bad thing.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I did not expect this at all. I started P9 and I just had a great start, and I just tried to just take full advantage of it. And I was starting on an alternative strategy from Floris just to see if I could have early pace, and it worked out great in the start, and was able to try and just keep up pace and keep good lap times in there, but did not have the same pace as Floris or Thomas, but I just tried to keep him behind me and see if Floris could get the win. No team orders, but I just felt like, I'm in here and I might as well try and cover him up a little bit.
The track claimed a lot of big-name victims, Newton, Aoun, and McLeod. Did you have any close calls out there today?
I was once I saw the leader's wreck, I was pretty nervous because it was like a chicane suddenly set up in front of me and coming into the S's. So you had a chicane within the chicane, and it scared the living hell out of me. I think I thought about lifting the throttle, but I was like, okay, no, I just got to keep it stuck here because you have a long run into the next turn and can't lose any space at all.
Well, congratulations on a nice run. Well done. One more race to go. Have you enjoyed your racing in the Batteries Not Included series?
This was a great race. I really enjoyed this. Watkins Glen has always been a good track for me, and also finishing on the lead lap instead of 2 or 3 laps down is also really fun.
It's funny. It's funny how you always have a better time when you finish well.
Yeah, it's. I was really active over the radio after this race. I was congratulating everyone. But Watkins Glen has always been one of my favorite tracks. It's so much fun. I wish we had the chicane here because it opens up for some more passing opportunities, and it always, it's always a great track.
Yeah, we talked about that during the race. Well, congratulations on the good finish. Good luck, and we hope to see you for season 2.
Thank you.
All right. And of course, season 1 is not done yet. We still have one more race to go. That's going to do it for our broadcast, but not for the people that make this possible. So let me give them a little bit of love. We'll start with a man named Clayton McLeod. He's the series organizer here for the Batteries Not Included Championship. And I thank him and all of his series mates who support the Global SimRacing Channel broadcast. Thanks to the company's equipment that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast. You see a list of them on screen right now. Got to give some additional thanks to Eric Ephraim and June Lalonde. You know what they do. They provide the music. See the screen to how to get a hold of more of their great work. Did you like this one? Well, we're going to be back in one more week for the season finale. That's going to be, as we talked about, from Monza. You don't want to miss that. That track puts on a good show. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you got lots of options. First of all, visit us at globalsimracingchannel.com. But also, we got social media options for you. How about Twitter? GSR Channel. How about Facebook? Facebook.com/Global SimRacing Channel. Instagram, we got that covered too with GSRC_Graham. Now, all of the upcoming races for our series are listed on the screen, so check those out. Mark them down on your calendar so you don't miss a moment here on the Global SimRacing Channel. And of course, head over and click that YouTube subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. Become one of the more than 7,000 subs here on the Global SimRacing Channel. All right, that's going to do it for our broadcast. So let me thank everybody on the crew. That would be Sean, Nick, and of course our camera artist, Dougie Beard. Congratulations to Floris Bashar, who wins the penultimate round of this debut season in Batteries Not Included. We're off to have fun, storm of the castle. So until next time, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you on the track.